All right, ticks. Not exactly the most cuddly topic, but trust me, they're way more interesting than you might think. You've been asking to learn more about them and, well, especially the ones here in Nevada.
You know what's fascinating about ticks? They're so adaptable. Millions of years, all kinds of environments.
So basics first, what are ticks exactly?
They're arachnids, like spiders, mites,
8 legs, right.
at least as adults and nymphs.
Wait, not all of them.
Larvae, those seed ticks, they start with 6.
6 legs, wild. Like they can't decide what to be yet?
Well, one thing's for sure, they want blood, both males and females, to survive, grow, the whole thing.
So it's their lifeblood, literally. Makes sense for a parasite. The source material mentions hard and soft ticks. What's the difference?
The shell, mainly. Hard ticks, tough shield on their back. Soft ticks, more like a leathery, flexible.
Okay, hard ticks first. The source mentions a few right here in Nevada. Listeners, pay attention. American dog tick, what's the deal with these guys?
Yeah, often on dogs, but not picky. Other animals, humans too. Pacific Coast, east of the Rockies, so yeah, Nevada for sure.
What should people look for, appearance-wise, I mean?
Dark brown shield, white markings, but the pattern can vary. Females, they're the real problem. Thousands of eggs, you see.
Thousands, wow.
And get this, larvae and nymphs, they can go a year without food, a whole year, just waiting.
That's incredible, like survival machines. So not just tick season, we gotta be careful all year round.
Exactly. And don't forget, diseases. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, tularemia, tick paralysis even sometimes.
Okay, adding that to the avoid ticks list. What about the Rocky Mountain wood tick? Similar to the American dog tick.
Visually, almost identical. Tricky to tell them apart. But they have different preferences depending on their life stage. Larvae and nymphs, small mammals.
Yeah.
Adults, bigger animals, including
so-
us. Active mid-March to mid-July. So that's, prime time to watch out.
Different ticks, different seasons, different hosts. Clever. These are also in Nevada, right?
Oh, yeah. All over the Rocky Mountain states, including Nevada. And same as the American dog tick, they can carry Rocky Mountain spotted fever.
Got it. So 2 down, 1 to go on our Nevada hard tick tour. Brown dog tick. Does the name give away its favorite spot?
Pretty much. Mostly on dogs and rodents, humans, very rarely, so you can relax a little there.
That is a relief. But the source said something about them being indoor ticks.
Yeah, that's what's different about these guys. Unlike the others, they can actually live and reproduce totally indoors.
Seriously, so even if my dog never goes hiking, we could still get ticks in the house.
It's possible, yeah. Kennels, other dogs, rodents can bring them in.
Yeah.
Can't survive winter outside in Nevada, but they get brought in or travel during the warmer months.
Okay, good to know. So dog owners in Nevada, what should they look for? How do you know if you've got a brown dog tick situation?
Lots of scratching, head shaking, red skin, irritated. They like to hide toes, ears, the behind area.
Not the best places to find a tick. And how fast do they, well, make more ticks?
Pretty fast. Right conditions, 2 months, whole life cycle. And the females, they lay these big clusters of eggs, hundreds of them.
Hundreds. That sounds like a real infestation waiting to happen.
It can be. That's why, early detection, prevention, that's crucial.
So prevention, got a dog, live in Nevada, best way to deal with these hard ticks?
Well, when you're out, collars, sprays, those are good. Check yourself, too, after, tall grass, shrubs. Easy to just focus on the dog and forget about ourselves.
That's true. Guilty as charged. Around the house, any tips? Keep those hard ticks away, I mean.
Keeping the grass short, big help. Sun dries them out. They don't like that.
Sunlight, our ally.
Exactly. Indoors, especially brown dog ticks, you want a pesticide that lasts. They get in cracks. Those eggs are tough. And vet always for dog's treatment. Some breeds react badly to certain things.
Don't want to trade one problem for another.
Right. Hard tick control, it's a process, but with the right info, a bit of effort, you can manage it.
So those are the hard ticks you might see in Nevada. But what about the soft ticks? Different, and should we even worry about them here?
They're sneakier, flatter, leathery, no hard shield.
Source mentioned fowl ticks and ear ticks. Those sound, well, interesting.
Fowl ticks, pretty much just birds. Poultry, especially.
So unless I've got chickens running around, not a problem.
Probably not. Unless, abandoned bird nests nearby. Otherwise, you're probably good.
Okay, good to know. But how do they feed? Different from the hard ticks.
Hard ticks, they're like that guest who won't leave days and days. Fowl ticks, more like in and out. Nighttime, an hour or two, then gone.
Sneaky. And I'm guessing they look different, too.
Oh, yeah. Really flat, leathery. Easy to tell them apart from hard ticks.
Visually, at least. But what about, The damage. The source said they're rough on poultry.
Yeah, lots of them. Can cause anemia, fewer eggs, slow growth, even death for chicks.
Wow, serious stuff. Maybe sneaky, but dangerous.
And another thing, they're tough. Nymph and adults, up
Yeah.
3 years without food.
3 years. That's longer than some pets.
It's true. They're survivors, that's for sure.
Okay, so fowl ticks. Problem for poultry farmers. What about the ear tick? That one sounds, well, kind of creepy.
I get it. Spino's ear tick has this look, round body, but with a pinch in the middle, and spines all over.
Spines. Oh, that doesn't sound pleasant.
And the bites, really painful. Ears, mostly. Horses, cows, sheep, even us sometimes.
Yikes. If I feel something tickling my ear while hiking, I'm out of there.
Probably a good idea.
So we've got the hard ticks, the fowl ticks, and the ear ticks. Best way to deal with these soft ticks, especially farmers.
Good management, that's the key. Clean barns, coops, nowhere for them to hide.
So clean barn, happy barn, no ticks.
Pretty much. And if you've got a real problem, pesticide, the kind that lasts, that helps. Hard to get rid of them completely. But talk to a vet, pest control, before using anything. Got to use the right stuff and not hurt other animals.
Safety first, right? Don't want to fix one thing and break another.
Exactly. It's all about balance, protecting animals and the environment.
Well said. Okay, we've covered a lot. Different ticks in Nevada, what diseases they carry, and how to stay safe. Think our listeners are ready to take on those ticks.
I think so too. Information, being proactive, that's what matters. Knowledge is power, especially with ticks.
I started this deep dive a little freaked out about ticks, but now I kind of respect them. Complex, tough little things.
That's a good way to put it. Maybe not lovable, but definitely fascinating.
They are, and I'm surprised how much there is to know. Life cycles, adaptations, remarkable creatures, really.
It's true. And that resilience, that's what makes them such good parasites,
Well, speaking of parasites, how do those diseases spread exactly? You said some ticks carry bacteria, but how does a bite actually make us sick?
Yeah, it seems small, but there's a lot happening. When a tick feeds on, say, a mouse that's infected, right, it gets those bacteria in its blood meal. Then those bacteria, they kind of hang out in the tick's gut, and next time it bites, boom, some of that gets into your blood.
So like a tiny, dirty needle, basically.
Hmm.
Kind of creepy when you put it that way.
It is. And that's why taking them off the right way, fast, it's so important. Longer they're attached, more chance of, getting sick.
Makes sense. Okay, so lots of risks, but shifting gears a bit. You mentioned ticks having a role in the ecosystem. What does that even mean?
Well, as much as we hate them, they're part of the food chain, right? Birds eat them, reptiles, amphibians. And by feeding on mice, deer, they actually help keep those populations in check.
Huh, never thought of it that way. Not just bloodsuckers, but part of the whole system.
Exactly. It's all about, how you look at it. We see the bad stuff, obviously, but they do have a purpose. Big picture.
Good point. Everything has its place, even the creepy crawlies.
Right. And who knows, maybe studying them will lead to something good. Tick saliva. Some scientists think it could have medical uses.
No kidding. So maybe a silver lining to those bites after all.
We can hope.
So Lyme disease, big problem in some parts of the U.S., but what about Nevada? Should people here be worried?
Good news is it's less common here than other places. Deer ticks, they're the main culprits, and they're not as prevalent in Nevada.
Lower risk, but not zero risk.
Right. Most Lyme disease cases in Nevada, it's from getting bitten somewhere else. Still, good to know the symptoms, just in case.
Okay, that makes sense. So even though the risk is lower here, still got to take precautions, right? Avoiding tick bites in general.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even if you don't live where there's lots of deer ticks traveling, you could get exposed.
True. So prevention, we talked about hard ticks, anything specific for deer ticks, Lyme disease?
Yeah, a few things. Avoiding ticky areas, obviously, especially spring, summer, when they're most active.
And if you can avoid them completely, hiking, camping, things like that.
Then it's all about dressing right.
Yeah.
Long pants tucked in, long sleeves, hat, light colors. Helps you see them better.
You mentioned repellents earlier. Do those work on deer ticks?
Yeah, DET, permethrin, those are good. Keep them from latching on.
Okay, and after you've been outside, anything else?
Always check. Yourself, kids, pets. Head, ears, armpits, groin, behind the knees, those warm spots.
So anywhere they can hide, basically.
Exactly. They love those spots.
All right, and what if you do find one? Attached, I mean. What's the best way to get it off? Burn it. Suffocate it with Vaseline?
Lots of myths out there. Main thing is get it off fast, don't squeeze, crush it. You don't want more of its saliva in you.
No fancy tricks then, just quick and clean. How do you do that?
Tweezers, the fine-tipped kind. Grab it close to the skin, pull straight up, steady pressure. No twisting or jerking, you could break it off.
Sounds simple enough. And after it's off.
Clean the area, wash your hands, alcohol or soap and water. And yeah, keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't look infected or anything.
Right, so if that rash or any weird symptoms, doctor time.
Exactly. Better safe than sorry, right?
So Lyme disease in Nevada, not super common, but still got to be careful. Now, you mentioned other tick-borne illnesses. Source talked about tick-borne relapsing fever. What's that all about?
Yeah, that's another nasty one. Bacteria again.
Yeah.
It causes fevers, chills, headache, muscle aches, but comes and goes.
Comes and goes. Like you get sick, feel better, then sick again.
Yeah, fever for a few days, then gone for a week, then back again. Relapsing, that's why they call it that.
Sounds awful. Is it as common as Lyme disease?
No, not as widespread, but still a problem in some parts of the world, Western U.S. especially.
And Nevada specifically. Should we be worried here?
It's not, like, everywhere, but you can get it. Those ticks, like rodent burrows, nests, that kind of thing. So if you spend a lot of time in those areas, campers, hikers, you might be more at risk.
Basically, if you like nature, be aware.
Exactly. And same as Lyme disease, prevention is key. Avoiding ticky areas, the right clothes, repellent, checking after being outside.
Same precautions, different disease.
Exactly. And any weird symptoms, especially after a bite, see a doctor.
Good advice. Okay, so Lyme disease, TBRF, how to stay safe. But before we wrap up, back to those soft ticks for a sec. Fowl ticks, ear ticks, not as much of a human problem, but bad news for animals. What about preventing those on farms and stuff?
Well, keeping things clean, that's huge. Barns, coops, no clutter, nowhere for them to hide.
So tidy barn, tick-free barn.
Pretty much. And if there's already a lot of them, pesticide that lasts a while, that helps.
Yep.
Ticks are tough to get rid of entirely. But again, talk to the vet, pest control people, before you spray anything.
Right.
Right product and not harm other animals, that's important.
Safety first. Don't want to trade one problem for another.
Right. Balance, that's what it's all about. Protecting animals, environment, the whole thing. It really is. That's what makes them, good at what they do.
Speaking of, how do those diseases actually get spread? The bacteria, it's just a bite, right?
Seems small, but it's more complicated than that. So tick bites an infected animal, say a mouse, gets the bacteria in its meal. And then those bacteria, they live in the tick's gut. Next time it bites, some of that gets into your blood.
So like a tiny little needle full of germs. Kind of gross when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. And that's why getting the tick off fast the right way, really important. The longer it's attached, the more chance of those bacteria getting into you.
Okay, that makes sense. So lots to talk about risks, but before we finish up, I wanted to ask about something you mentioned before, ticks and their role in the ecosystem. What does that even mean?
Well, they're part of the food web, like it or not. Birds eat them, lizards, frogs, all kinds of things. And by feeding on mice, deer, they help keep those populations balanced.
Huh. Never thought of it that way. Not just pests, but part of the whole, circle of life.
Exactly. It's about perspective. We focus on the bad, obviously, but they do have a purpose.
Good reminder. Even the creepy crawlies have a place.
That's right. And who knows, maybe there's even something good we can get from studying them. Tick saliva, for example. Some scientists think it might have medical uses.
Wow, really? So maybe those bites aren't all bad after all.
We can hope.
Well, I think we've given everyone plenty to think about today. Ticks, not exactly cute and cuddly, but definitely fascinating. Understanding them, that's how we protect ourselves and appreciate, how complex nature really is.
Couldn't agree more. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe out there.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of ticks. Hope you learned something new. And remember those tips next time you're outdoors.